Good evening, I'm Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Dr. Mahathir Mohamad isn't sold on Syed Saddiq's idea for a youth-based party. Syed Saddiq has set out to carve his own path through Malaysian politics with a multiracial youth party, but his former mentor, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, isn't convinced it'll be a recipe for success.
I really don't know why he wants to form a new party. But you take away the youth, that's a substantial number. But I don't think it will be very successful because although the youth is a big portion of the electorate, it's not enough for people just to win because they have the support of youth. In any constituency, there will be old people, there will be young people. We are going to appeal to young people as well. But of course, if he appeals only to young people, it's difficult for him to succeed.
However, Dr. Mahathir added that he still has a good relationship with his former cabinet minister.
We are a free country. He wants to do things on his own. He used to be a very strong supporter of Pakatan Harapan, but now he feels that he needs to break away from us. So we have good relation with him. We have no problem if the objective is to fight against corruption and things like that.
Dubbed Muda Malaysia for now, Syed Saddiq is building a youth-led multiracial policy-driven political platform aimed at disrupting the political status quo. In an interview with Malaysia Kini recently, he said he was willing to lose everything to make it work.
So I think I want to ensure that I don't have to compromise on my principles. And that's why it may be a long process. I may lose my seat, I may lose everything. I've come to terms with that. That's why when I discuss with all these young leaders, to me, they are taking a bigger sacrifice than me. But one of the questions which they asked me is, am I willing to lose everything? Which means even possibly losing my seat. I said, I am. Because when we are in this, we are in this together. Yes, it means that this is a hard way out, a long journey and a long battle, but we are in this together. And if we lose, it's fine. As long as we try, we no longer need to make those unnecessary principle-based compromises. Because now, finally, we are fighting for something which we genuinely believe in.
Syed Saddiq has since gathered a lineup of young professionals, activists, startup founders, religious preachers and academics to form a multiracial policy-driven platform, movement and potentially a party. Dr. Mahathir's comments didn't seem to dampen Syed Saddiq's spirit. This is how the former Bersatu youth leader responded. Muar MP Syed Abdul Rahman has welcomed the criticism from his former mentor, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, on plans to start a new multiracial youth party. Writing on Twitter, Syed Saddiq thanked Dr. Mahathir and said they accepted the criticism with an open heart. He added that they may be young, but they love Malaysia. He was responding to Mahathir, who had said earlier today that he does not believe the multiracial youth party headed by Syed Saddiq will be successful. Until Deepavali, that is the longest Indira Gandhi hopes she'll need to wait before being reunited with her daughter after more than a decade. Indira Gandhi is optimistic of meeting her long-lost daughter Prasanna Dixa after talks with police at Bukit Aman today. She was initially scheduled to meet Inspector General of Police Abdul Hamid Badur. However, he had to attend another urgent meeting. Following this, Indira and the Indira Gandhi Action Team had met with federal police officers for about an hour this morning. Flanked by Ambiga Srinivasan, Ingat Chairperson Aroy Dorasamy and lawyer Sachrit Raj Singh Sohanpal, she spoke to reporters after the meeting.
This saga is nothing about religious matter. I think it's more that I, as a mother, I wanted to see my daughter. If she chooses to be in Islam, that is not the issue. The issue is...
You have no problem with
yes,
that? Yeah.
I have no problem of her being a Muslim, but I want to see her.
Yeah.
It's been 11 years. I don't know how she has grown up to how she looks like. I don't have anything on that. So I want to see her. I want to hold her. That's the main purpose of finding Prasanna.
Meanwhile, Ambiga said their meeting with the police was positive.
Prasanna is now 12 years old.
a 12-year-old girl should be with her mother for obvious reasons. This is the time of her life. She's going through puberty and so on. Psychologically, we are very concerned as to what she has been going through because she has been living in the shadows. We can't find her. So we are very concerned about the psychological effect of what has happened to Prasanna. So we have to, as a community, and we've urged the police, and they understand the situation.
Prasanna was an infant when her father Ridwan, previously named K. Padmanathan, took her away in 2009 after converting to Islam. Ridwan and Indra were later engaged in a tightly watched interfaith custody battle after he unilaterally converted Prasanna and their 2 other children to Islam. In 2018, the federal court unanimously ruled that unilateral conversions of children were unlawful, as such decisions needed permission from both parents. It also issued an arrest warrant for Ridwan. Nightclubs have remained closed during the RMCO, and the Prime Minister's remarks on the matter has left some people in shock.
Ekonomi negara kita sedang menunjukkan tanda-tanda pemulihan setelah hampir semua sektor ekonomi ini dibuka semula. Yang tak buka hanya kelab malam, pub-pub. Itu saya fikir kalau tak buka selama-lama pun bagus juga. Kadang susah nak mengamalkan penjarakan sosial for obvious reason.
According to the Federation of Malaysian Entertainment Industry, this is another blow to pubs and nightclubs which have not been allowed to operate since the government imposed a lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic in March. The Federation's president, Liu Pun Siak, said bars and pubs have contributed to the nation's economy and are struggling to remain afloat. He said if physical distancing is the reason for night spots to remain closed, then political, religious and public gatherings should be banned as well. Liu said the Federation does not oppose the movement control order but hopes the government would look into their plight and allow night spots to operate under certain conditions. He also urged the Prime Minister to retract his statement and show concern for their situation. Muhyiddin had made the remark at a Perikatan National Convention in Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday. The Prime Minister said the economy has shown signs of recovery after government reopened almost all sectors. A video of the event showed past President Abdul Hadi Awang and controversial preacher Ridwan T. Abdullah as among those who applauded the remark. Perhilithan are urging the public to inform them if they come across an injured elephant in Kluang.
Kaki dia luka. Kena jerat agaknya kakinya. Luka.
The Department of Wildlife and National Parks Peninsula Malaysia has urged the public to keep a lookout for an elephant believed to be injured by a trap in a palm oil plantation in Kluang, Johor. Orang Asli villagers had spotted the injured mammal at a riverside plantation in Sodohok in Kluang. The finding was immediately reported to Perhilithan. However, when the department arrived at the scene, the animal was nowhere to be found. It is believed to have moved to a nearby forest. The department is working to locate the elephant so it can be rescued and treated. Anyone with information on the elephant may contact Perhilithan at 1-800-88-5151. According to Perhilithan, traps are often laid by poachers. However, it is unclear if this elephant was injured by a poacher's trap. Poaching and habitat loss are 2 of the biggest threats against the elephant population in Malaysia. The COVID-19 outbreak has spread from a lockup in Lahad Datu to a prison. Here's the country's latest situation. Malaysia reported 14 new COVID-19 cases today, of which 10 were local transmissions. The majority of local infections were part of the Benteng LD cluster in Lahad Datu, Sabah, comprising 2 Malaysian nationals and 4 foreigners. The cluster was first reported on September 1st among detainees at a police lockup in Lahad Datu. However, Health Ministry Director General Dr. Norisham Abdullah said the 6 new cases of the Benteng LD cluster today were detected in Tawau prison. Meanwhile, in Kedah, 4 new cases were reported. 3 of the new cases were from the Tawah cluster, while 1 was from the Telaga cluster. 2 new cases have also been reported in the Bunga cluster, which is isolated among crew members aboard a ship in Port Dickson, originating from Singapore. The remaining 2 cases involve individuals returning from the Philippines and Singapore respectively. Citizens from high-risk countries will not be allowed to enter Malaysia starting Monday. Citizens of countries with more than 150,000 COVID-19 cases will be barred from entering Malaysia beginning September 7th. Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob said among the countries already on the list were the United States, Brazil, France, United Kingdom, Spain, Italy, Saudi Arabia, Russia and Bangladesh, as well as the 3 countries announced previously, namely India, Indonesia and the Philippines. He said the government will add more countries deemed high risk into the list when necessary. However, he said for emergencies and cases involving bilateral relations, entry will be granted with permission from the Immigration Department. Last Tuesday, Ismail Sabri announced an entry ban on long-term pass holders from India, Indonesia and the Philippines beginning September 7th due to a spike in COVID-19 cases in those countries. The ban involves 6 categories of pass holders, namely those with permanent residence status, Malaysia My Second Home program participants, expatriates including professional visit pass holders and resident pass holders. Spouses of Malaysian citizens and their children, as well as students from these countries, will also be barred. Malaysians from high-risk countries can return home, but they will be subjected to a 14-day mandatory quarantine. Coming up next, the US is refusing to pay the WHO. $80 million, that's how much the US is refusing to pay the WHO. The United States said on Wednesday that it will not pay some $80 million it currently owes the Geneva-based World Health Organization and will instead redirect the money to help pay its United Nations bill in New York. The US plans to leave WHO on July 6, 2021, after US President Donald Trump accused it of becoming a puppet for China during the coronavirus pandemic. The WHO rejected Trump's assertions. Under a 1948 joint resolution of the US Congress, Trump had to give 1-year notice of the US withdrawal from the WHO and is required to pay what Washington owes for the organization's current fiscal year. Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for International Organization Affairs Nerissa Cook said the US currently owes the WHO some $18 million for fiscal year 2019 and $62 million for fiscal year 2020. Dr. Alma Golden, U.S. Agency for International Development Assistant Administrator for Global Health, said that in most cases Washington had identified new partners to continue the global health assistance it had carried out with the WHO. In the world of sports, there's still no agreement in sight between Messi and Barcelona. Lionel Messi's father and Asian met Barcelona club president Josep Bartomeu on Wednesday to discuss the player's wish to leave the club, but the talks ended in a stalemate, Spanish media reported. Earlier, Jorge Messi said it was difficult for his son to remain with Barcelona, the only club he has ever played for professionally. Messi shocked Barcelona last month when his lawyers told the club that he wanted to activate a clause in his contract that would allow him to leave the club for free before the 2021 season. The club disputed the claim, saying the clause expired on June 10th. The meeting lasted 1.5 hours and was held in a cordial atmosphere, according to local media reports including sports dailies Marca and Mundo Deportivo. They said Bartomeu sees Messi as a key part of Barca's plan to rebuild under new coach Ronald Koeman. There was no comment from the club. Messi missed a medical on Sunday and did not show up on Monday for the first training session of the season. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.